What's up tankers, it's Mad Friday and welcome to another quick tank review, and I thought today we'd look at something completely different just to mix it up a little bit. We're going to be looking at the Tier 6 British Artillery, the FV304, or more affectionately known as the Bert. Hey Bert, how's it going Bert? Yeah, this artillery piece is pretty much completely different to most of the other ones. It is a bit like the Bishop that leads on to this, but it's just better than the Bishop in most ways. But then after this tank it all gets to long range big derpy guns, where this thing can only fire up to a maximum distance of 500 meters. That is not far, and it leaves you almost at the spotting range even when you're at maximum distance to a target, so you have to be very careful how you play this. But the gun arc on this thing is so high, you can hit enemies that think they're behind cover, and also because it's that high you can hide behind cover and have a clear shot on enemies that are also behind cover, and it just goes really high, you know what I mean, really up high into the air and then it drops down. But because it's so high and such a low velocity round, the round is in the air at maximum range for just under 3 seconds, so you have to be very careful about how far you lead your targets. But the plus points do outweigh the negatives, and also it's one of the most accurate artilleries in the game as well, and the reload is pretty damn good. And against tanks which don't have a very good repair skill crew, you can keep them perma-tracked, and that's one thing you're going to have to learn to do in this thing, because the ammunition is very low penetration. There's little chance of penning higher tier targets, so the best way of making experience out this tank is to perma-track higher tier targets and let your friendly team shoot them over and over again, and we'll see that in some video at the end. Yeah, let's have a quick look at the stats. We're going to the packages. You obviously start here from the Bert. This gun is very bad. You won't do a huge amount of damage. The tracks are also quite bad, but you do have the powerful engine, so the track traverse is going to be horrendous, so at this point you're not going to be too active. As you get to here though, you get the big gun, so you start doing some damage. But what you do want to fully upgrade this thing, especially if you want to have a lot of fun, because you get a more powerful engine, which makes it even faster, and some better tracks. So the track traverse becomes acceptable, but not particularly good. Right, let's have a quick look at the full stats for this one. So it has a 500 horsepower Rolls-Royce Meteor. The Meteor was the non-supercharged land-based version of the engine was in Spitfires. So you've got one of the smallest tanks in the game with a 500 horsepower Rolls-Royce Meteor engine in. It does go pretty damn fast, but the track traverse is only 24 degrees a second. Yeah, so you can go quite fast in a straight line, but trying to turn this thing is quite a pain. Right, onto the gun. As standard, it fires 6.82 rounds per minute, and you can bump this up with vent rammer and some crew skills and a premium consumable, and you will be able to perma-track even a fairly good skilled enemy crew. Penetration is appalling at 57mm, and as you can see from there, there's only one pen quote because it only fires one type of ammunition. There is no premium ammunition or choices of AP or anything. But if you can get those rounds to pen, they will do a 450 average. But against some tier 8s, especially things like KV4s and stuff like that, you can expect 0 damage hits quite a lot, which is why you need to be thinking about tracking targets rather than looking for damage. Aiming time is quite bad at 4.5 seconds, and accuracy, it looks pretty bad at 0.69, but you've basically got KV2 accuracy on an artillery piece, so it's not that bad at all in retrospect, really. Right, so the gun traverses at 20 degrees a second, that's good enough. View range is terrible at 310, so if you do want to spot your own targets, you're most definitely going to need binos, crew skills, and probably the premium consumable, otherwise you're just going to get out spotted. Unless you rely on your camo value, which is excellent in this thing, and the signal range is 700 meters, which is more than acceptable. Right, so I spoke about the ammunition, let's go and have a look. So it only holds high explosive, and that is your lot. Carry 64 of them. You can burn through that quite quickly in a long drawn out game, so you need to make the most of them. Average damage is pretty good if you pen, but the penetration is very, very low. So like I said, if you can't pen engine deckings or stuff like that, or weak zones, you're going to have to look for your tracking shots and try and make up your experience that way. Consumables, I've gone for a repair kit and a first aid kit. I would recommend those two because you can play this thing active. A lot of people like to play this in TD mode. So if you get tracked or something, or you get a crew member taken out, especially a driver, it can be quite bad. I've not gone for a first aid kit. This tank has very little hit points for tier 6. You'd be very lucky to survive at least one hit, so I haven't gone for a fire extinguisher. If you get hit and set on fire, by the time you put it out, you're either going to be dead or you're going to have very little hit points left anyway. So I've gone for tea and pudding, and the main reason for that is the reload. That is key to be able to perma-track tanks even with a good repair skill crew. That's why Bert can be so dangerous and so annoying, but I'll show you that in some gameplay at the end. Right, so what else do you want to know? Crew skills. I don't have much on this tank because my crew from this line went up the line and I kept the Bert and started a new crew. But I've gone for, let's show you, gone for Brothers in Arms. Well, no, I went for Sixth Sense first because it's nice to know if you're spotted, like in any tank. And Brothers in Arms most definitely for the second one, because you need that for your reload time. The faster you can get your reload, the more annoying you can be in your Bert. But I didn't train Brothers in Arms, I trained camo, as with Sixth Sense as well. I trained camo, once it's fully trained, swapped it for Sixth Sense, then retrained camo, swapped it for Brothers in Arms, and now I'm retraining camo, and I'll either keep camo or pick something else. And the reason for that is, these are perks, they only work at 100%, so whilst you're training them, you get no effect out of them whatsoever. Camo is a skill, so you get the benefit gradually increasing as it trains. And that's why I do. It costs you 10 gold to swap, but it's worth it for me to have the extra benefit of the crew skill whilst it's working. Right, so that is basically all you need to know on here, apart from the equipment. I've gone for a rammer and vents to increase the reload speed, and the last piece of equipment is up to you. I went for camo net, but you could bin this off for gun lane drive. I'd definitely recommend either camo net or gun lane drive. This will keep you a bit more sneaky. Gun lane drive will help you with your aim time. But with tea and pudding, I found it's fast enough to aim in fully between shots anyway, so I went for camo net. Right, literally that is all you need to know about this tank. There's no point going into tanks.gg. I'll show you here. Can get penned by HE shots from pretty much every tank it's going to meet, so there's absolutely no point looking at the armour. All you need to know is the camo value is above average, and the maximum firing distance is 500 meters, and the arc is extremely high. And like I said, that gives you the opportunity to fire at targets that are behind cover and keep them tracked. And that is how the Bert works. Also, like I said, you can play it TD mode, but I've tried it a few times. I do come off the good side now and again, but it normally sees me suffering with the track traverse and end up getting taken out. Anyway, right on to some Ace Tanker gameplay to show you how Bert works.
We've got enemies incoming. Either take them out or capture their base. Let's go.
Right, so here we go with Bert on Airfield. This is actually a pretty good map for Bert, and hopefully I can demonstrate the sort of things I've been telling you in the garage. I expect a lot of you have already been through this tank or had this tank or still own this tank, but for the guys who you don't, I hope this review helps you out a little bit. This is one of the more fun tanks in the game. It's definitely a keeper. I kept it. It's a lot of fun. I play it now and again just to cheer myself up. Right, so here we go. This is what I'm saying. Right, straight off, I found a little position, but it's behind a little bit of cover that I won't get spotted behind. But having that hill in front is absolutely no drama for this tank. The gun arc is so high, you can aim in and provide some pretty good cover for your guys in spots that most other artilleries wouldn't be able to. But also there you saw the limit of the gun range. I'm nowhere near in range to fire at the enemy team's base from here. So this is about it. And also from this you can see just how small that aiming circle is. See though, depending on how steep the bit of cover is, there is positions for it's not perfect, if you know what I mean, but there are a lot of positions people think they're in cover and they're really not. But I'm afraid that's not one of them though. So I'm going to move. Can't help the guys from there. They've pushed out pretty quick, and a lot of the enemies are still near their spawn area. So to be able to be of any use, I need to push in a little bit more. Wasn't an ideal place to stop there. There's a chance of getting spotted from the hill there, so I'm going to move again. So now I've found a little place I can aim in at the base. Right, there we go. See, the Bert thinks he's behind cover there. He's behind a little hill. Why he's not moving when he's spotted, I don't know. Boom, one shot the Bert, and that is the only problem. You don't have hardly any hit points, especially for a tier 6 vehicle. Right, there we go. Those enemies are just out my range again, so I'm going to move in a little further. Have a shot at the IS. He starts to move, and there's hardly any splash radius on these shells. And you can see I did very little damage to that IS there. Right, now a Carnarvon. Stop Carnarvon, but he's still got the still a Carnarvon hull. It's fairly well armoured. That's actually a pretty good roll for non-penetration there. You can see I'm aiming for his tracks. Get the critical hit. I don't know if I got the red damage or just yellow damage there, so I carry on firing at his tracks. That one hits his side armour and doesn't even do 100 damage. There we go, critical hit again. It's probably his tracks still, so I continue to fire on the same spot. And this is another thing you need to be learning, especially with your bishop as well. If you can get rid of a player's repair kit and keep them tracked, they are basically dead. If you can keep firing and they don't move, they haven't got a good enough repair skill crew, and you keep them tracked, they ain't going anywhere. And that's that tier 8 heavy tank done.
Focus on this location.
And also, if you keep them tracked, you can see I only picked up one ticket there, but if your friendly team hit the target whilst you have them tracked, you pick up the assist points as well. Right, so this is something you like to see in a Bert, a French tank.
Let her rip.
Bang, 400 odd damage. The calibre of this gun is good enough to overmatch the sides and rear of a 5100, and we help out our friendly heavy tank there. Pick up a nice tier 8 heavy tank kill. So you go from doing 30 or 40 damage to a Carnarvon to doing 400 damage to a French tank. Right, so I've been spotted. I'm trying to get away as a light tank. There's the track traverse. The 88's really not helping me out. He continues to drive. He's being a bit of an asshole. I take 2 hits, but I managed to survive. He gets dealt with, so I lived through that situation. I was very lucky there. The 88 really didn't help me out. He actually blocked me. That was totally uncalled for. Now that light tank's dead, I'm going to continue in the same position to try to get some shots on base. So an IS-3, remember 3-second lead time, and we only do 17 damage to that IS-3. It's a shame we didn't track him there, because we would have picked up all that fire damage as well.
Enemies are capturing the base.
See that lead time? It is ridiculously long at maximum range. 3 whole seconds.
We nailed it bad.
Right, because I'm in the middle of the map, we're being capped. It doesn't take too long for me to be able to turn around and get some shots on target. Just missed the ELC AMX there. That is a very, very hard target to hit with this tank. Remember, a 3-second lead time. He thinks he's safe there. Watch this. Goes over the building, and we one-shot that ELC AMX. T29 low health, easy kill. That's what I'm saying about the gun arc. Behind that target at the start, but he was behind quite a fairly substantial big rock there, and I couldn't get an arc on him. But those targets near our base, they were just behind some buildings there, and you can get over those so easily. Don't think I'm going to pick up this last kill and our team camps out. But there we go, 4 kills in the Bert. Decent amount of damage done, but without those hits on the 5100, this would not have been a very high damage scoring game. So we've done 4 kills, pick up a Stark's medal for taking 2 hits and surviving in an artillery piece. That's a very rare thing to get in a Bert because you only have a couple of hundred hit points. The sort of tanks you can meet mostly can one-shot you, so picking up a Stark's medal in a Bert is pretty good. And we pick up the ace tanker, but I would say that's probably at the very lower end of an ace tanker for this tank. Some people do some serious amounts of damage in this thing. 4 kills, not far off 3000 damage, and top of the team in a tier 8 game. And that is the Bert for you. It's all about using the gun arc, its great accuracy, and just knowing the limitations like the length of time it takes for the round to get there and the maximum firing range. Right, there we go guys, hope this review has helped you out, and hopefully if you've not been through this tank at all yet, my review on it might sort of interest you in this tank a little bit and interest you to go and get it and have some fun. It's like I said, it's one of the more fun tanks in the game, and it is most definitely my funnest artillery piece, and the only one I actually choose to play because I like to play it rather than just trying to complete the line. Well, there we go guys, please give the video a like if you did, please sub if you're not, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.